In the forsaken hamlet of Grimstead, tucked away in the fog-shrouded lowlands of rural England, a stillness settled over the land that felt more suffocating than the autumn mist rolling off the fields. The village, a cluster of crumbling stone. Cottages and overgrown lanes seemed frozen in time, its isolation a shield against the modern world. Yet, beneath its desolate charm, pulsed a darkness the villagers carried like a buried secret. For generations, they whispered of a cursed lantern, a hollow, iron-caged light said to have been forged by a farmer in 1780, imbued with a silent malediction that cast shadows over the harvest. Legend claimed the farmer, Elias lost his crops and family to a brutal drought and, in his desperation, struck a pact with a malevolent spirit, binding its essence to the lantern. He hung it in the village barn as a beacon, only for it to become a harbinger of doom. The first to feel its curse was Hannah Tate, a young farmhand in 1785 who lit the lantern during the harvest festival. That night, her cries pierced the silence, fading into a low, eerie hum that lingered over Grimstead. She vanished, and the village awoke to fields stripped bare, livestock dead with hollowed-out eyes, and shadows moving where no light should fall. The elders, consulting faded parish records, uncovered the lantern's secret. Its hollow glow was a spell, weaving a connection to the spirit of Elias, who fed on the fear and despair of the living. Every 50 years, the lantern chose a new bearer, their life offered to appease the curse, or so the villagers believed. Few returned, and those who did were shattered, their eyes sunken, their voices echoing with an otherworldly murmur. Lydia Harper, a 32-year-old botanist with a quiet resolve, arrived in Grimstead seeking refuge after her father's sudden death. Her keen observation and solitary nature made her an outsider among the weary villagers, her presence noted as the curse's cycle loomed. The fields grew darker, the air heavier, and strange, flickering shadows danced in the barn at night sides. That the lantern's time had come. The village believed only the steadfast or the doomed could face Elias's spirit, and Lydia's lack of local ties marked her as the chosen one. For more bone-chilling tales that will haunt your nights, subscribe to HS Horror Story on YouTube and step into the shadows with us. The village council convened in the dim light of the old barn, its wooden beams warped and its walls etched with faded carvings that seemed to pulse under the lantern's glow. Led by Elder Thomas Reed, a gaunt man with hollow cheeks, they summoned. "Lydia, you've been chosen," Thomas croaked, his voice barely audible. "The lantern demands a bearer, and your outsider status fits the ritual." Lydia's heart pounded. "Chosen for what?" "I won't touch that thing," she protested. Thomas's gaze darkened. "It's not a choice. The lantern binds you to Elias's spirit, to quiet his wrath, or break the curse if you survive." Her objections met with cold silence. Mary Ellis, the village herbalist, recounted the last ritual in 1975 when young Jacob Price returned with a vacant stare, his hands clutching at shadows until he faded into the fields. "It's for Grimstead," Thomas muttered, as if the words erased their guilt. That night, under a sky-stained crimson, Lydia was led to the barn. Her wrists were bound with coarse rope, her pleas drawn by the wind. The air grew frigid and the barn door creaked open, revealing the lantern hanging from a rusted beam, its hollow iron cage glowing with an unnatural, flickering light, silent yet alive. Beside it stood an old man, the keeper, his face shrouded, his eyes gleaming with a sickly hue. "Light it," he rasped, his voice a hollow echo, "or the spirit takes us all." Lydia's hands trembled as she struck a match, the flame catching the lantern's wick. The silence deepened and the ground shuddered. The shadows lengthened and a figure emerged, a gaunt, spectral farmer with hollow eyes and a face etched with despair, his presence suffocating. Elias's hum filled Lydia's. mind weaving visions of drought-ravaged fields, a farmer's rage, and a curse cast into the harvest. Lydia realized the lantern wasn't just a light, it was a prison, binding her to the spirit's eternal hunger. What will become of Lydia under the hollow lantern? Can she extinguish the curse, or will she be consumed? Watch the full story on It's Just Horror Story on YouTube, where terror takes root. Days later, Lydia staggered back to Grimstead, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow yet gleaming with an eerie light. The fields bloomed with blackened, wilted crops, but the villagers shunned her, whispering she bore the curse's mark. She was seen wandering the barn at night, drawn to the lantern's silent glow, where some swore they heard her murmuring to shadows that shifted like crops in the wind. The keeper claimed Lydia had not broken the curse, but become its vessel, her soul now entwined with Elias's lament. The village lived in fear, knowing the curse endured, and Lydia was no longer fully herself. The truth lies in the barn, where the hollow lantern binds the living to the damned. For more terrifying stories, from the edge of the unknown, subscribe to HS Horror Story on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to stay haunted with our weekly tales of dread.